Hi there, and welcome to Rusted Junk, the 80s movie podcast. Do you dream about gremlins? How hard can you actually die? Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe? If those mean something to you, then you're in the right place. This season, we're all about a dip into the 90s. So over to Charlie, Amanda, Joe and Dom for the film.
Hey, and the film we'll be covering this time is the 1990 film Fight Club, directed by David Fincher, based on a famous novel by Chuck Palahniuk. Have I got that right? It is. It stars Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Helena Bonham Carter. Follows the story of an unnamed narrator, Norton, a discontented white-collar worker who suffers from insomnia. He forms an underground fight club with soap salesman Tyler Durden, the radical form of psychotherapy. The club evolves into something much larger and more anarchistic as it becomes a network for expressing male frustration and aggression. The film explores themes of identity, consumerism, the search for meaning in modern life. It cost $63 million to make, and it earned $101 million back, so it wasn't considered a commercial success. It has a rating of 80% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, but 96% viewers, us.
96%?
96%. Anyway, 96%. Will that translate into scores? Let's find out after the trailer. Let's roll the trailer.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Why?
How much can you know about yourself? You've never been in a fight.
Wait, let me start earlier. Like many of you, I was stuck.
You want me to deprioritize my current reports until you advise of a status upgrade?
Make these your primary action items.
I couldn't sleep.
No, you can't die from insomnia.
I'd flip through catalogs and wonder, what kind of dining set defines me as a person? This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. I prayed for a different life.
Soap. I make and I sell soap.
And this is how I met Tyler Durden.
Come on, hit me before I lose my nerve. Ow! It hit me in the ear!
It was on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Can I be next?
We just gave it a name.
Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is...
Wow, nice.
You do not talk about Fight Club.
Is that your blood?
Some of it, yeah.
After Fight Club, we all started seeing things differently.
You're gonna have to keep me up all night.
And she ruined everything.
You're not into her, are you?
No, God, not at all.
We've all been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars, but we won't.
He had a plan. To what purpose? In Tyler we trusted.
I gotta take Fight Club up a notch. Each one of you has a homework assignment. You're gonna start a fight with a total stranger.
That's not necessary.
And you're gonna lose.
That hurt.
You were looking for a way to change your life. You got it.
I'm stopping this.
It's already done, so shut up.
What kind of sick game are you playing? Oh my God.
Where is my mind?
Kids.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? This is too much.
In the end, you will thank me.
Wow!
If you could fight anyone, who would you fight?
Shatner. I'd fight William Shatner.
By the way, he did actually hit him in the ear. I know, starting trivia a bit early, but the director went, "Can you just go and smack him in the ear?" So yeah, that's why he genuinely is in pain, and Edward Norton is chuckling to himself. So you go back and watch that scene if you want. Anyway, here we are, Fight Club. Dom, your choice. Again, I'll just say it how it is. Why did you pick this film?
So I picked this film because I thought it was an important film. I was torn when I look back on the 90s as kind of, I wanted to explore something which for me looked at some issues but presented them in an entertaining way as opposed to being perhaps preachy about them. So this film reminds me of some other great 90s films, sort of American Beauty, The Matrix. These are kind of blockbuster mainstream films that explore areas which I feel need to be explored. And even if you don't agree with the conclusions or the analysis that they follow, frankly, these things need to be looked at, I think. So you mentioned some of the stuff. So violence, the role of men in society, consumerism, emasculation, change. And it's thought-provoking content, even if actually sometimes it could be described as being cheerfully fascist in its approach to these things. That's not necessarily a bad thing if part of the role of the film is to be thought-provoking. So there's some memorable scenes. Am I giving you my review? I feel like I'm segueing into my review.
Yeah, by all means, segue away.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So some memorable scenes and some memorable lines in this film. I think there's a great cast of Ed Norton, Brad Pitt, and Helena Bonham Carter. It's not perfect. So for me, I'd put David Fincher's Seven above it, for example, as my favourite film of his. Sometimes I feel the pacing can be a little off. The kind of depressed insomniac narrator can always be too successful sometimes in adding a bit of a flat vibe to things. But look, I'm glad this film exists. I'm really looking forward to exploring it with each of you, and hopefully our listeners will be entertained by that. Amanda, I'm very much looking forward to your perspective as a woman, because for me this is a film made by men for men, but I'm interested to hear what you think. So I think blistering hallucinatory film, often brilliant, 9 out of 10.
Oof, 9. Opening salvo. Well, despite the fact you bigging it up and the woman's perspective, I'm just going to pause that for a moment because we're going to go to Joe next.
Me?
Keep them listening. Keep them listening. Let's go.
Yeah, so this is definitely an interesting film. I'm glad you chose it, Dom. It's kind of weird. Like when I first watched it, I thought it was amazing when I first saw it. And I don't think I saw it in theaters. I probably saw it on home video. And just a twist just kind of blows your mind. And then the second time you watch it, you look to see if there are clues to show that the narrator, and I guess we can go into spoilers because everybody knows what this movie is all about, is Tyler Durden. If there are clues that we see, like is somebody looking at the narrator or are they looking at Tyler Durden when they're talking, and all these different things. But then as you start to watch it, like after that, it kind of loses the magic a little bit. I mean, I know this is going to sound like a bit of a downer, but it's almost like we can't get that back again. We can't get that surprise back. It's still an excellent film, but there's never now. I've watched it twice, I'd say, since you picked it, Dom, and there's never a point in this movie where I don't think that they're two different people, where I just automatically know that they're the same person, and that kind of ruins it for me. Just the magic, I would say, not the movie. I think the movie is brilliant. It's genius. And I would, I'm going to see if you guys can change my opinion on this, but I'm going to give it an 8.5, but it's very possible I can go higher based on some of your opinions.
Look, I know this section of the pod is all about let's just hear our initial opening thoughts and remarks and so on, but just indulge me for a sec when I chip in here and I say, I think the twist, which you've already discussed to listeners, and I'm going to give a spoiler to another movie in a moment, but if you consider a film like The Sixth Sense, which is kind of like carefully laid out breadcrumbs, and do you or don't you pick up on it? I don't mind admitting I didn't the first time I saw it, and then there's this big twist reveal, and actually if you look back at it or watch it a second time, it all makes kind of sense. It's very well crafted, and there's that's brilliant. Round of applause to the director. He pulled it off, or most people I think would suggest he pulled it off, but with Fight Club, I don't think that's what he's trying to achieve. I don't think it's something where you rewatch it and you kind of, with the knowledge you have about them being the same person in mind, and it's kind of, he did that. I think the plot device is that he's an unreliable narrator, so what you see on the screen and how it unfolds isn't actually kind of the linear story, because there's a scene where they're both, Brad Pitt's driving and Ed Norton's the passenger in a car, which, clearly couldn't be the case if that was literally, they were the same person. So I think he's an unreliable narrator. What you see presented to you isn't clearly how it actually unfolded. So that would be my comment on that.
Okay. We've got 9. We've got 8.5. I love the fact that Joe says, well, I'm here to be swayed. I'm here to be convinced. What, 0.5? I mean, it's not like you're down on the scale and you have to be brought up. But yes.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 0.5.
Well, who knows? I shall tantalize no longer. Amanda, what is your view?
Oh, I thought you were going to do you next.
Oh, I can do me next if you want.
Yeah, go on.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
she said.
Actress, Bishop, all of that. Yeah, it's a tough watch when you go back and watch it because your balloon's been popped. You've seen it. Sixth Sense I can't go back and watch, which is, I'm glad you raised that, because Sixth Sense is one of those ones you watch twice. This is one of those films you watch twice. Then you go back and then you look for clues. Do you then go, oh, I don't know, let's stick on Fight Club? I don't know, people do. And, you know, there's a lot of love for this film. Despite the fact it wasn't considered a commercial success, I think it's fair to say definitely cult status for this
was
film.
Successful in DVD sales.
Yeah, and it would be. I mean, because people would just go, look, here's the two leads. Brad Pitt, arguably rising on a crest of a wave. He was paid $17.5 million for this film, and Ed Norton was paid $2.5 million.
Crikey.
So Brad Pitt could basically name his thing. And when we come to roll call, oh my goodness, when you start laying it out and you look at the careers of Edward Norton, Brad Pitt, and Helena Bonham Carter.
And Meatloaf.
Well,
Rest in peace.
Yes, yeah. But, you know, not film-wise. I mean, I can't, you know, we've only got two that I could really point at, but still. And one of them's just a cameo. But, yeah, there's part of me that thinks, yes, very well directed and great performances. But for me, there's just something... A, there's something missing, and B, it's probably something that I'm not getting. So I'm equally going to make the offer that I'm willing to be convinced, because I know, Dom, you love this film. I think a lot of it is really self-indulgent. One of the criticisms that they actually make in the film, you could make of the filmmakers themselves, but we'll go into that. Yeah. So, sorry to be party pooper, but yeah, I'm 6.5. This one.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm not with the 96. I'm not with the 96%. But equally, I'm not with the 60%. I'm above, somewhere in the middle. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to knowing perspectives, because it just didn't hit me in the same way. And maybe that I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe I should look at it as, do you remember what it was like the first time that you saw it? And if that's the case, then I'm happy to revise it to an 8.
No, look, I think
right now, because I mean, it's different. You know, I think I'm looking at it with different eyes now.
I think this is about reviewing films to see if they stand the test of time and how they hold up, not kind of trying to transport yourself back to 99, as much as we'd all love to do that. Bloody hell.
No, but as you pointed out, it's interesting that if I recommended this film and somebody had never seen it, then I go, oh, do you think? Yeah, it's a really, really good film. And you would say that. And then once they've watched it, they might join my 6.5 club, but they might be in Dom's thing with 9 and going, oh God, that was amazing. I need to watch that again.
Well,
and then it diminishes.
Hopefully it makes it interesting for our listeners when we disagree, and there's space to explore that rather than just all nodding along saying it's 9 out of 10. But anyway, the most important review here, I think, Amanda. So
yes, here we go.
Don't put me on a pedestal for that. No, God no.
Here we go.
I don't represent the female population, by the way. It's just my own humble opinion. Okay, so it's been years since I've seen this, and I kind of remembered the twist. So again, I'm with you lot. I was kind of looking for, is there any way that you can tell before you know, and you get to that part of the movie, and you can't? You can't actually tell until you get to that part of the movie that it's, and even then, it's still bizarre because the way in which they're fighting doesn't lend itself to somebody who's got some split personality disorder that's, you know, going through all this. It just feels a bit weird, especially like the images that you see of them fighting at the end of the movie in the basement of the building on CCTV. It's like he's purposefully getting someone to throw him around, and that's just still a bit weird because you wouldn't do that. I just find it a bit weird myself. So I kind of was a little bit confused. I know I'm blonde, but I was confused because I wasn't actually trying to, I didn't quite understand the message of what the film was trying to give. Whether that's because I'm a female, I don't know, but I just felt it concentrated too much on the violence rather than what the film was actually about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I wanted to, could I just chime in really quick? But I think it's a brilliant philosophy, but I think that the problem was that it went overboard. The whole thing is that you have a job in order to buy goods, and that's the whole thing. Tyler Durden's trying to make like the narrator know, or himself know, that you are not your items that you have in your house. You're more than that. You don't need to have like the best job in the world to make a lot of money so that you can buy the stuff that you see on TV, or so that you can look like the person on TV. That's a great philosophy. It's very true, but then they go overboard by what they do. But I do love the whole philosophy, and I live to that philosophy to this day. A lot of times I'll buy something and I'm like, did I really need that? I mean, am I buying this because I really like it, or am I buying it because everyone else seems to be buying it, and am I working in a job that I'm not happy with because I need money in order to buy stuff that do I really need? Do I need like a 75-inch TV? Do I need a $30,000 car? Do I need a $400,000 house? It's like, is that what's going to make you happy? But the process of you getting there is going to make you miserable by working in some place that you're not happy about. I think that that's fantastic, but I think that's the philosophy. Well, part of it, the meaning of the movie is that.
Well, I went and had a look at what other people thought about the movie, and this was actually quite interesting. I'll try and find the website that I found this from, but this was their summary at the end of what they've written. It said, if a group of people consistently misses the point of Fight Club, does that make Fight Club a bad movie? Does it undermine its core theme? I don't think that it does, because it's not like the film is universally misunderstood, or that Fincher and Knowles don't know where they want to take the story. What Fight Club understands is that the modern male is in an incredibly tenuous place when he becomes disconnected from his own emotions and healthy ways of expressing those emotions. The narrator starts the film not looking for violence, but simply for an emotional outlet, and in a darkly comic fashion goes to a support group. But what he's looking for is an emotional connection, and while a Fight Club may offer memorable rules, it offers neither truth nor understanding, only violence. So that really was kind of where I came from in sort of starting this sort of review. For me, it doesn't get that complete message over, and it doesn't really give him answers. It just perpetuates that he's slipped into this violent sort of way of living, but doesn't realise that's actually him. So yeah, I think there's let's discuss this more, because I think this is really interesting. So for me, while I think it's a good movie, I still am puzzled by it, because the message to me doesn't come over as clear as it probably should. Okay. So for me, I'm pitching it a 6.5.
6.5 Club.
But it's a good movie, and I would actually recommend people watch it if they've never watched it before. And I think it is that thing of, if you've seen it before, you know what's coming, so you watch it with different eyes. So yeah, if people haven't watched the movie, obviously don't listen to this podcast, because we've given away all the
already
secrets.
done it. Too late.
I would definitely recommend it to people that haven't seen it, and say, yeah, go fill your boots, go and watch it, and then watch it again, and then tell me what you think of it.
But don't approach it thinking this is a plot twist movie in the spirit of the Sixth Sense. It isn't. For me, it's a social commentary and a satire, which happens to have a plot twist at the end of it, but that's not the kind of integral part of the film. I think it'd be a mistake, not for us, but collectively, to review it through the lens of, does it or does it not pull off the plot twist at the end? For me, that's kind of like a creative twist that they take. It's not material to the film. The material bit of the film is the kind of the exploring how he goes from being just a every Joe regular man to this kind of violent anarchist, and that kind of narrative that he's on. And again, whether or not you agree with all the points that are made, and whether or not you feel they're fully answered, because I would agree they're not satisfactorily wrapped up with a bow around them, but it's kind of a lunge, a brawl, a rumble through this kind of landscape. We haven't seen squalor like this since we reviewed with Nell and I don't think so. Yeah, that's the way. It's a film that needs to be kind of consumed, I think. Not kind of, it's not a linear film with a beginning, middle, and an end. And the plot twist at the end. That'd be my opinion.
Wow. Well, probably our longest ever intro. That's
yeah. Got to keep us honest with time, Charlie, because I forgot to set my stopwatch.
No. But this is good. I mean, this is the whole. It's our point. But metaphorical battle lines drawn. 2 in the 6.5 camp and 2 in the 8.5 to 9 camp. It's going to be great. I think we're going to have a great podcast. But before we discuss it any further, we must do roll call. I'll try and keep this snappy on this one, but here goes. Here's roll call.
Roll call.
So let's start with Edward Norton. Ed to his friends. Thoughts, everyone, before we go into what do people think he's a good actor, prolific actor? He certainly has made some pretty bad choices, but still.
Bad choices, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think he's an amazing actor, but he ruined his own career.
He did.
His self-value went to his head, and I think that a lot of directors don't want to work with him anymore. You barely see him in anything, and if he does, it's like side roles or minor roles, and it's too bad because I think the guy is brilliant at times when you look at his movies.
Yeah, definitely. Amanda, any highlights? We open it up to the Ed Norton highlights.
There's in his film career?
Yeah.
American History X.
Well said. That's my absolute favourite film of his, and it was for ages. That was on my short list of films to do for this season. And if we stay in the 90s longer, who knows? Then I'm definitely going to bring that to the table because I'll use the polite version. I flipping love that film, and his performance in it's incendiary. That image of him with a swastika on his chest is just, that sets the tone for the whole film. So yeah, hats off, Amanda. That's good shout.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I ended up sounding patronising, didn't it? But no, I was agreeing.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for that.
Well done, Amanda. That was excellent. No, spot on. I agree.
Well done. I'm going to go back even further than American History X. I'm going to go to Primal Fear with Richard Gere. That is a good plot twist. So for those who haven't seen it, I won't spoil it for you. But he's exceptionally good in that film. I mean, if we're talking a breakout film, I know most people probably say, American History X, things like that. But Primal Fear is worth checking out. He's also in Red Dragon. He was in the completely not asked for and not watched remake of The Italian Job. Why does Mark Wahlberg continue to keep going? I don't know. Apart from Ted, by the way, he's brilliant in Ted. The Incredible Hulk, the non-Marvel, Joe. Incredible Hulk, I believe.
No, that's canon. That's part of the MCU.
Is it? I thought it was the Eric Bana one, not canon.
Yeah, the Eric Bana one. The Incredible Hulk was made before Paramount and Disney started doing the MCU,
right?
But it's considered canon. So the Hulk in that movie is the Hulk that we see in the Avengers.
So he is part of the MCU.
But he was replaced by Mark Ruffalo because people had problems with him on the set of The Incredible Hulk.
Right.
And I mean, part of it, I heard the story of that. He was really into The Incredible Hulk and he wanted to make specific changes. He had ideas and he was always offering ideas, and it rubbed the director the wrong way. But he felt like he had a lot of power and that he wanted all of his changes implemented in the movie. And then after that, the leftovers from Marvel that went over to Disney were like, yeah, we're not working with him again. And they ended up hiring Mark Ruffalo, which is too bad because physically that is what I picture Bruce Banner to be.
Yes.
A skinny twig of a guy, not Mark Ruffalo, who looks like he eats too many cheeseburgers at times.
And he sucks at the Hulk.
He's good in the first Avengers movie, but after that, he's just, I don't like him.
Yeah, okay. Where he appears on the scooter and goes, I'm always angry. That's good. Yeah, okay. And then the rest of it is just twaddle from a Hulk perspective, anyway. So Hulk, Born Legacy, The Grand Budapest Hotel. I've watched it. I'm sure everyone's going to tell me, oh God, it's a classic. You should really watch it. Birdman with Michael Keaton, The Glass Onion, The Knives Out sequel, and more recently Asteroid City, which I haven't watched. So yes, he's in that as well.
That Glass Onion sequel was absolutely awful. The first one was pretty good if you like murder mysteries, but the second one was just, I'm going to say, bollocks. Yeah.
Okay. Well, from bollocks to successful. Brad Pitt, then. I'm going to start with Amanda on this one. Give us any favorite Brad Pitt memories. You must have most of these etched in your mind because you were suddenly in the 90s. You were like, ooh, Brad Pitt. You're on mute. What?
Sorry, I've got a cold again. So coughing again. Oh God.
I'm sorry, I have a cold. Yeah.
So Brad Pitt, yes. Iconic moment, Thelma and Louise.
Oh, okay.
That's
I've
when
never
we're
seen that one.
Yeah, yeah, certainly made people sit up and notice.
Yeah, and then the kind of the other elements I've got is Interview with the Vampire, and also Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Right, I've got a couple of less obvious ones that I think are brilliant. 12 Monkeys, that's a fantastic film.
Yes.
Yeah, if you've not seen that, anybody go and he actually did get Oscar nominated for that, but it's kind of been a bit of a forgotten gem, I think. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I just absolutely love that film, and he's so good in it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea on this podcast, but that's for me top 3 Tarantino all time. But the other one I'd just highlight is The Big Short, which is kind of a business movie. Maybe again, that's not a genre that gets a lot of love, but I quite like that sort of thing, working in a corporate job in the way that I do. So yeah, The Big Short, where they exploit and explore the financial crisis, that's worth checking out too.
Right, Joe.
Meet Joe Black.
Oh, you've done it. If this was a game show and there's a list of things underneath that you say things you really shouldn't say to Dom.
Won a prize.
You have won a prize. I'll find out what it is. But
presumably,
at the moment,
Joe,
I'll put some comedy. I'll put some comedy sound effect in there.
I like that movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Amanda, let's just sit back and let's just watch him.
Job here is done.
Joe likes that movie because it's very similar to your own name. Is that perhaps why, Joe?
That's one reason.
Yeah, that's number one. I thought it might be. What's number 2? The pacing.
Anthony Hopkins, the girl that's in that movie, is pretty hot. I don't have to like it for the story. The music is by Thomas Newman. The score is amazing. I think it's. I don't know. I just like it. There's a bunch of douchebags in the movie. I'll admit, but I always enjoy it, and I think Brad Pitt does a very good role of playing like an innocent death. I'm sorry.
It gets worse.
No, look, it's all good. Yeah, personally, I'm the old school where having a good story does matter to a film, but I can see how those other things would mitigate that. But for me, I would go so far as to say I think it's the worst film I've ever seen. Now I know technically there's just trash, slasher flicks, and
I was gonna say worse than Blade.
Yeah.
Hey.
Whoa.
Worse than what was that other one you made me watch? What was Val Kilmer's breakthrough film? I think that was the lowest score.
Real Genius.
That was
don't
awful.
rag on Real Genius.
Yeah. But Joe Black technically wasn't inferior to those. It's just the most boring film I can remember watching. It's about death, and the pace is funereal. It is, 2.5 hours in, and someone has to come and dust you. I just hated it. So yeah, if you're recovering from emotional anxiety or your nerves are shot to pieces, perhaps you've been fighting a war or something, you need to come home and put a movie on that's going to settle you down, I'd suggest watching Meet Joe Black, because it is, in my opinion, awful. But of course, that's the beauty of the pod. Joe has presented an interesting, if inaccurate, counterpoint to that. So,
I don't normally do this, but I cried 3 times in that movie. So
me too, but for different reasons.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Cried 3 times. Were you on your period or something when you watched that one, Joe? Bloody hell.
No, it wasn't that time of the month.
Hey, steady on, guys. Come on.
Well, we talk about Fight Club. We're here to be kind of testosterone-fueled alpha males, aren't we? So I'm allowed to say things like that. Yeah.
Brad Pitt can be in a crappy movie and he can still bring it on. I mean, and that's what he gets a lot of crap for. He's a good-looking guy, but he's an incredible actor. I think if you look at his his film category or his film library, he's just done a hell of a lot of good movies. I was going to mention also, did you ever see this one, Legends of the Fall, Amanda?
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember it though.
Oh, Inglourious Bastards. He's just...
Yeah, I mean...
Was he in Snatch?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got the list here, but there's a few things. He was in 21 Jump Street with Johnny Depp, by the way. So put that in there. He was also in Lesson Zero. By the way, he was a party guest in the background. Yes, I went and YouTubed it, and there he is. He was also in Head of the Class, which is one of my favourite 80s. I wouldn't say sitcoms. 30-something, Breakout, Thelma and Louise. Right, now he's in. Now he's been noticed. Now it's happening. And then he goes and makes Cool World with an animated Kim Basinger.
Shit. Yeah.
Well, okay, I guess that was already in the pipeline, and he said, "Oh God, no, don't release." Oh God, okay, you've got to release that. But then look at this. I'm not being funny. This is why I was really nicely surprised by it, and I really shouldn't be. A River Runs Through It, True Romance, Interview with the Vampire, Legends of the Fall, Seven, 12 Monkeys, Sleepers, Meet Joe Black, Snatch, Ocean's 11, 12 and 13, Troy, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, I believe was the title. I didn't write the last bit. Glorious Bastards, Megamind, Joe.
Oh yeah, I didn't like it. He was in that.
Moneyball, World War Z or Z, Fury, cameo in Deadpool, Once Upon a Time in America, Ad Astra, Bullet Train, Babylon. Good Lord. I mean,
cameo in Deadpool.
The cameo in Deadpool.
Yeah, most people would. I think he plays someone that's invisible.
He's in still.
I'd say he's the only person that gives Tom Cruise a run for his money in terms of biggest movie star today.
And if he's in a film, as you pointed out, it might be bad, but he's still watchable. I would
and if
say.
Amanda, did you say he got, or it might have been Charlie, that he got $17.2 million for the movie?
Yes, 17 and a half.
That's an outrageous amount for back then. That's an outrageous amount right now, So yeah.
Well, it's a good chunk of the budget.
Angelina Jolie will soon be getting half of that, won't she? So lucky Brad.
Are they fully divorced now, or
it's getting dirty, very dirty. These all sorts of allegations that we can't discuss on here, but yeah,
they are allegations. Yes.
Yeah, just have a quick Google what he got up to on his jet plane home from France.
Well, we'll talk about that another time, but yes, not on a podcast and not anywhere where somebody can use it in court.
But I will say, he's brilliant in this. Dom, was he nominated for an Oscar for this role?
Yeah, well, let's have a few Oscar bounces.
It wasn't. Yeah, we skipped over it. I was just going through my laborious Ed Norton one, which we missed. Ed Norton's been nominated twice, losing out for Primal Fear to Cuba Gooding Jr. for Jerry Maguire. And he also lost out American History X to Roberto Benigni for Life is Beautiful. What was more noticeable about that was that Roberto Benigni also beat Tom Hanks for Saving Private Ryan that year, which I know will land well with some of you on this pod, but surely Tom Hanks must have been halfway out of his seat before it got announced.
It was going over to Greece at that point.
Okay.
Greece.
Okay. All right, yeah. So Brad Pitt has been nominated. He got nominated for 12 Monkeys, but lost out to Kevin Spacey for The Usual Suspects. He got nominated for The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, but lost to Mickey Rourke for The Wrestler. And he finally got his Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he beat mainly because Al Pacino and Joe Pesci split the vote for The Irishman, I think. But yeah, so he's won one Oscar.
Well, I think he deserved to lose on. What did Ed Norton lose? Ed Norton was actually nominated for Primal Fear.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so he got nominated against the winner, Cuba Gooding Jr. for Jerry Maguire, Armin Muller-Stahl for Shine, James Wood for Ghost of Mississippi. The one I'd have given it to would have been William H. Macy for Fargo. That's a good film. It's out there.
Well, moving on to, we've only got two more, one of which is very small. Well, big in heart, very small. Helena Bonham Carter. I've always had a bit of before I open it up. I've always had a bit of problem with. I don't know where she's. I don't know if I like her or not.
I like her.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I like. like her as an actress. I don't know, because then there's times when I go, oh my God, no. And there's times when I go, yeah, that was really good. So I don't know. Let's open it up. Helena Bonham Carter, memories, observations, favorites.
Well, I like this movie, Room with a View. She's in that one.
Oh, yeah. Period dramas, Joe. I've got that.
I like period dramas.
No, good for you, mate. And Howard's End as well. Have you seen that?
Yep.
Yeah, two.
That's a good one.
I'll tell you what, there's a good movie you probably haven't seen. I think it's great. Dancing Queen.
Dancing Queen. Is that ABBA?
No, it's gonna. Wow, it's appropriate because there's a tune from ABBA called "Dancing Queen" that she dances to. She's actually a stripper, and she gets hired to strip at a stag do. That I don't know if you know him, Rick Mayall from the Young Ones. No,
I know the Young Ones, but I don't.
Okay, yeah. So Rick Mayall was a really good comedian and comic actor, and I absolutely adore Rick Mayall, but he's passed on, unfortunately.
Well loved.
Yeah. So it's a film about him, and they end up going to is it Doncaster. They end up going, and like he's basically the groom. No, he's the groom. He's the one getting married, and it all goes horribly wrong. They debag him, they strip him of everything. He's got nothing, so she ends up like saving him, but he ends up being a complete prick to her, and then like she storms off, but then they see each other again, and then she helps him, and he ends up then not getting married.
How long ago was this?
Going off with her. Right. It's a really good movie. I love it.
How old is it? Is it recent?
93 it was.
93, okay.
Yeah. I don't think it went out in the cinemas. I think it was just a BBC film that they'd made.
Okay.
But it's a great watch. It's funny. It's got Martin Clunes in it as well. He's like the best man that completely F's up the whole thing. And yeah, it's funny. It's good.
That sounds like I'd like that, actually. Yeah.
Is she a stripper in the period piece?
There's no period piece in it, but yeah.
No, that's like, well, I thought you mentioned it because I was talking about period pieces. I like them. She's a stripper in a period piece. All right.
Corsets, Joe, is what gets Joe's juices revving.
Let's put it that way. And,
okay.
Like that scene from Amadeus.
Right. So, Helena Bonham Carter. I wouldn't say breakout role, but when you're looking at a list of films, you're looking at Hamlet with Mel Gibson. Yes, she was in that, but she'd obviously established herself before that. Frankenstein, Planet of the Apes, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride. She was Lady Tottington in Curse of the Were-Rabbit with Wallace and Gromit. Series of Unfortunate Events, Bellatrix Lestrange in Harry Potter, The King's Speech, Fairy Godmother and Cinderella, Alice Through the Looking Glass. She was in the ill-fated Why Did They Bother, Ocean's 8, and in a series called Enola Holmes, which I haven't watched.
How have you managed to avoid talking about Sweeney Todd? Because she was in that.
Oh, and Sweeney Todd.
Abomination as well, the one that tricked us all into watching a musical. Yeah, she's probably the best thing in it, I think, really. In fact, she did get Oscar nominated for that too, but yeah, let's never speak of that film again. If anyone chooses that, if we ever take a trip into the noughties, I'm off that pod.
I mean, I'm picking Meet Joe Black. Fine.
I pick that one.
And lastly, because we do have another one. There's two, but Meatloaf. It's famous for Rocky Horror, Wayne's World, Spice World, and a very wide-ranging, successful musical career. Is that it?
He would do anything for love, but he won't do that. Whatever that is.
Yeah, what is that?
Just put your inhibitions to one side, Meatloaf. I say, just go for it. Yeah, don't rule anything out.
Give it a try.
Yeah, no boundaries, no red flags.
First.
Vaseline, rubber gloves. I know what it was like involving, and he's like, I'm not doing that. No chance.
He's in a Steve Martin movie that you like.
Which one?
What's that one? The one where he plays like a minister. Yeah, he's a traveling minister. Leap of Faith. Yeah, he's in Leap of Faith.
Is he in Leap of Faith? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he plays like either one of the sound guys or the roadies. He's in that.
And then lastly, the director, which we rarely do mention, but I think we do in this case. David Fincher started off with music videos. Paula Abdul's Straight Up, which I think is a great video.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Madonna, he directed Express Yourself, Oh Father, Vogue, most famously.
Damn.
And Bad Girl. He did Aerosmith's Janie's Got a Gun. He did George Michael's Freedom 90. He made possibly one of the best sports advertisements I've ever seen, which is the Instant Karma John Lennon song from Nike.
That is my favorite advert. Well, I think that and the Guinness ones with the left field tune with the horses and the surfer. But yeah, Instant Karma. That is
the Karma is just a great. I mean,
that has made my day. I had no idea that he made that advert. You should put a link to that advert in the
I should. Yes. I should have put a link to all the music videos. But Vogue is iconic as well. You're like looking at that going, that's amazing.
Put some Fincher links into the YouTube comments along with that photo of me as a woman that I shared on the group chat before this. That'll pull into punters to our,
there you go.
To our YouTube. Maybe not the sort of before, but it'll attract some sorts.
I'm fine about a cross, not literally just because of that photo. Alien 3, he directed. Go by all means, we could do a separate podcast on that. But if it was his vision he was allowed to make, we would be talking about the classic Alien 3 now rather than the not so classic. 7, the quite excellent film The Game, Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. Panic Room, Zodiac, Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Gone Girl. His career didn't really have a dent after the Alien 3 controversy, so yeah, I think he's done quite successful.
There you go, folks. Roll call back with a vengeance, just in case you missed it. So yeah, there's an in-depth look, including his music video years. But Zodiac's a good film. That's what I'll say before we move on.
Robert Downey Jr. and that's good, very good. Anyway, right, off roll call. Back to the film. So I don't know, where do we start?
Quick.
The opening credits. The opening credits are, I think, are very good, and they got nominated for a Brit Award. The credits for the film, because for the Dust Brothers, I believe. I didn't write it down, but I believe that was them. But let's just talk about the themes of it then, rather than going through the film methodically and stuff. I mean, I just go on. Let's kick it off. Somebody kick it off.
No, I would say I could definitely feel for the narrator. I've had jobs just like that, where it's just a drudgery. It's like basically you work 5 days a week in a miserable job, and then on Friday you go home and you just pray that the hours are long and you enjoy the things that you bought, because you don't have time to establish relationships because you're working so hard. You're making good money. But again, the only glorification is that you can buy something that maybe like the average person can't buy. And that makes you happy, knowing that, what's going to make you happy? Some people, like, food can make them happy. Alcohol can make them happy. Drugs can make them happy. And items can make them happy. And again, I think that that's a good philosophy, is like, why waste your time working for a job that you don't like, when you can basically be free. I know everyone needs money, but I think that the whole purpose of it was like, do we really, or do like the least possible job that's going to provide you with the least amount of stress in order to enjoy your life? Because in the end, you're going to have nothing when you die. All that stuff's going to go away. Maybe it'll be left to your kids or whatever, but it's like a lot of people suffer from that. And then there are some people that don't, and they end up like meeting they get married, they have kids, they have grandkids and all this other crap, but I know I've been there. I definitely, not only one job, but numerous jobs where I'm like, this just sucks, and it's like, because you even look at the clock at Sunday night when it's like 8 o'clock and it's like, oh, the 12 hours I'm going to have to go back, it's miserable.
And 1999 was me and Dom working at the same place, which we can't say, but he was on the ascendancy and I was just like working to get money for beer in the week.
So put yourself down, mate. We were allies then. We were both help desk jockeys, weren't we, at the time?
Not the time this film came out. You'd made it to the security team and then helped me get a job with the security team, which I'm always thankful.
I joined that company, which we won't name, but would have been one of those ones that was blown up by explosives at the end of this movie, had it been real. No, we'd only been there a year. I joined in '98. This was '99, so we were both drinking ourselves silly down by the canal every night in Nottingham and getting up to all sorts of stuff, weren't we? So
that sounds like you were down by the canal like youths, drinking out
all right, bottles of cider.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh, bottles of K cider. Thank you very much.
Thanks for clarifying.
Oh, God, remember them? Oh my God, yeah. K. Funny.
A couple of bars in Nottingham that were on the canal that we used to frequent, didn't we?
We ended up buying yachts for the people that own that, because literally everybody in work went to the same place, but not just like a few people, everybody. And so suddenly you were getting to the end of the night and assaulting the CEO. Great, wonderful times.
I was down there last week. It was still a great place to go. But this film is about more than just job. I mean, jobs is an important feature of it, but it's about possessions. It's about the guy's home. It's about relationships. It's particularly, I think, about men, not exclusively, but there's a couple of key lines in it, aren't there? We're a generation of men raised by women. That's kind of, I think, central to the point of this film. And there's another one which is things you own end up owning you. And, you know, that kind of idea about debt as well. So I think it's not so much kind of a lament for freedom. It's partly that, but it's almost an idea about how going back maybe a generation to the 60s or the greatest generation after the Second World War, for example, that's kind of where men were men and had a role contributing in society. I think the big theme for me is kind of alienation and emasculation of men in modern society. And this is 99, by the way, you know, let alone roll forward 25 years since then, and how stifled the debate is these days, how kind of what one could argue difficult it is for a man to express himself. You know, once upon a time we would have, in Britain at least, gone to the pub after work, we would have gone to a football match, you know, fighting and violence, whilst not in this way of going to a club and purposefully beating each other up, but actually physical, you know, confrontation wasn't such a rare thing in those days, and that's what it harks back to for me. And again, I don't agree with that analysis or that interpretation, but I can certainly see why the argument needs to be had and needs to be posed. And I also don't agree with the violent anarchism of the solution that they devise here. But I'm just glad people are having that discussion, and I do think it's important. And people talk a lot about the patriarchy and all that, and Amanda, I realise I'm teeing myself up here for a shoeing from you with these comments, but I do think there's a bit of a crisis in kind of masculinity and men around the world. You know, certainly in the Western world, anyway. And
I think there is. There's an attack on, you know, especially white males. So yeah, I get it. I understand it. Obviously, I'm not one. No, I'm not one. But yeah, I was weirdly watching a documentary with Danny Dyer. I don't know if you saw it in the week, but it was about, you know, men and how they can't actually talk anymore, and that kind of environment where, you know, traditionally men would go down the pub, or men would be in a men's sort of sports and social setting, you know, that kind of thing. People aren't doing that anymore. Especially, you know, the younger generations becoming very siloed and very introvert. And I think that, unfortunately, is reflected in men's suicide rates. Men can't talk. Men have no outlet to talk. And I think it's really important that, you know, whilst we're expecting them to be men, there's also that side, that vulnerable side that needs to be exposed, but also allow them to do that, but also have the right to be a man. You know, I'm fully on board with what you're saying, but, you know, I just think the what a man is, and also to the extent what a woman is now becoming very...
Well, a lot of people have trouble expressing what a woman is. Very easy question. It's an adult human female. Sorry, YouTube, if you're going to ban me for that one, but yes, that's what it is, unfortunately.
But do you see what I mean? Today's society is changing, and the roles of what we traditionally see.
Well, we know we've got, if you're an alien coming down and watching media, TV, film, whatever, you would see that you would go, are you having a war against males? Because they, every time they appear, they're either dumb, don't know what they're doing, or totally emasculated and not part of it. They're part of the problem rather than the solution. And thank goodness for women, which is why you now get the MCU, which is now changing all of those roles over to women instead of men.
And Star Wars.
And Star Wars. There is this very, very blatant going on against men. The problem is that, you know, it started in the 90s. And so in the UK, we had 90s man who was like, you know, pictured with the Athena poster, clutching the baby and all of that. And, you know, yes, you should take pride in how you look. You should share your feelings. You should do all that. And then the moment that they do, I think it was exploited. It was exploited so hard to the point where men were, whoa, wait a minute. I thought you wanted it to be like this. No. Now, if you act like a man in the 70s and the 80s, you'd be branded as toxic or misogynist or right wing, and you'd be like, wait a minute. So how am I supposed to be then? What was it that you want me to be? And bringing this back to the film, because obviously that could go off on a tangent, so I won't. But if bringing back to the film, did I like the fact there was an outlet where blokes could go and smack each other? Oh, that's a great idea.
Well, I was going to say, I could see you doing this, you know, if it was a real
thing. I can
thing.
now because I'm doing boxing. I'm learning boxing, so it's helping. But yes, I could. I'd go and smack someone and expect to get smacked in return. Yeah.
Right, would you sign up to a fight club?
Yeah, I think I would. I think what it is too, it's like, did you ever watch those old movies where someone's hysterical and then they get a glass of water and they throw it on the person and then all of a sudden they're not hysterical anymore?
Yeah.
Seen that, yeah.
You know, and a lot of people thought that was just a joke, but it actually does kind of work. Like when someone is like having an anxiety attack or something like that and they think they're going crazy, it's because you change your focus, not from what you're thinking, but from what you're feeling. And I think that that's why it became so popular, because one thing I don't think that this film fully explains is that the people that joined the Fight Club were experiencing the same problems that the narrator was experiencing. And that's why they were so easily corruptible. So when, you know, the narrator and Tyler Durden, when they first hit each other, they feel something, you know, it makes them forget about all the pain that they're dealing with on a daily basis. And now they're dealing with the pain that they're feeling physically, and they enjoy it and they like it. It's almost like a drug. It's like, well, you know, let's do this again. It's like, so I can forget about this stuff. I can feel hard. And, you know, I don't want to go off on a tangent either. I think one of the problems with society too, is it's like a small minority of people, you know, mostly I would say younger people, that feel like this is how we should be. And I think that they want women to be as hard as men, and they want men to be as soft as women, you know, and it can't, you know, there are people that are like that, but we can't all be that. We all have our own individual personalities. You know, it's like, again, I can cry 3 times during Joe Black, you know, and Dom will just laugh at me, I'm sure. But then again, if somebody like, you know, bumps into me, like in the bus, like what happened in Fight Club, I may just knock his block off, you know, it's, we all have different personalities is what I'm trying to say. And going on that tangent, I forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, so you take it.
Fight Club subscription. So I think we all agree, or broadly agree, on the problem statements. And, you know, it's not got any better since 1999. But their solution to it is to propose these fight clubs and this kind of everyone shave their head, wear a black t-shirt and conform in a different way, I think. So, you know, even if you don't agree with the direction that takes, you can still see the value in it being explored. But the thing I'd like to talk about is the Helena Bonham Carter's character in this and the role she plays, because I think that's really interesting. I think she's she's on the screen less than the 2 main protagonists, but she's an important part of it. And apart from just bringing a different gender and perspective to it, she's the kind of consistent thing. And I wondered, Amanda, what again, sorry to represent all of womankind on this pod, but you are our alternative voice. What did you think of that in like the sex scenes that we assume at Nicholas she's having with Brad Pitt, and the way that she despite all of her kind of quirks and eccentricities, and that's putting it mildly, she kind of does fall in love with him to some extent. I think that scene when that she's having a conversation with Edward Norton's character, and there's the banging in the basement that eventually distracts them, but she's kind of wanting to find out what he really thinks of her. I thought there were some elements of it which were quite touching. I thought there's a bit of a love story at the heart of the film, or just tell me I'm talking bollocks. I don't know.
No, I think it's true. I think I was a bit confused by her character at the beginning. He saw her as a threat, didn't he? Because she was doing the same kind of thing that he was and getting that emotional connection from the groups. So when they decided that they'd split the groups, and then she checked and then realised he wasn't going to the groups, which kind of indicated that she was interested in him. I think there was always that interest, but you don't realise it's actually him because he's the two people. So it becomes a little bit complicated. So yeah, I think I actually feel sorry for her at the end, because she's tried to fathom out this character who's obviously got some disorder going on, and she sees one person and she sees a different person, but who is the person that she actually really wants at the end of the day? That's the question. Does she want like the exciting Brad Pitt character, or does she want the kind of, rather
sensitive?
Yeah, sensitive Ed Norton character. Don't know. It seems like he's been the Brad Pitt character for far longer than the Ed Norton character. So is she attracted to Tyler more? Is he more exciting? But then at the end, when they're watching the whole thing fall down, all the buildings fall down, and they're holding hands, it feels that he's cast the Brad Pitt character aside and then realised his true identity, because he's actually accepted what he is and who he is. So I don't know.
Surely she wants all those things, doesn't she? She wants, what was their line? She hasn't been fucked like that since grade school, and but she also wants the love and affection and consistency. I mean, to be fair, the fact that she still goes back to him despite the mother of all gaslighting that she's been experiencing for this kind of extended duration speaks volumes, I suppose. Yeah, but
maybe that there's the underlying theme there. Then women want the masculine yet sensitive guy.
I think what it is,
few and far between. Sorry, go on. Sorry, Joe. Go on.
No, I was going to say, I think what it is, yeah, she does. She wants the best of both worlds. There are a lot of women, they'll go out with bad guys, but they'll want to marry good guys, and she's got both with him. Because as Tyler, he is a bad guy, and he fucks like no one's ever fucked her before. Like what you said, Dom, she's never experienced that type of fucking. Where the narrator can't do that. The narrator, and again, I think she likes the fact that he's got a lot of confidence as Tyler. It's weird, but sometimes it's attractive, even if he's insulting. And I've experienced this with girls too. Like if like a girl hates me, I'm even more attracted to her. It's like there's got to be something about her, about me that she hates. That I don't know. It just drives me nuts. What is it that she doesn't like about me? It's stupid, but I think most people experience that, and I think that that's what she experiences, and it's insulting when he switches to the other personality, that he doesn't remember anything, or he's like, well, what are you doing in my house? It's like, this is my house. I mean, and that's why, again, I think it's fascinating, like when you watch it and she's like confused because she thinks it's the same person, but only he sees him as a different person. Again, I love those scenes when they're together. And I did want to mention too, she is fucking hot in this movie. She looks fantastic. What? You're gonna disagree with me there?
No, you broke up and you froze for a bit, and then you just came back with fucking hot.
So she looks hot, Joe. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said. She's fucking hot in this movie.
Really?
You like goth skanks?
I think she's a believable. Well, she's so like earthy though as well. She is attractive, but she's earthy. Like the Brad Pitt says about her at one point, she needs a good wash, and you can kind of get that vibe from her. But The person that looks amazing in this film, though, really is Brad Pitt. Surely, I mean, the camera just absolutely loves him, doesn't it? You know, we talked on Unforgiven about how the camera loves Clint Eastwood in this kind of craggy, austere, masculine way. But honestly, Brad Pitt's like a Greek god, and
yeah.
I'll just come out and state the obvious. Brad Pitt is a good-looking guy. That's my contribution.
He is.
I've heard my money.
Your man crush.
George Clooney's a good-looking guy. He's a rubbish actor.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep. But Out of Sight, though, that's a good film.
Out of Sight's good. And Ocean's 11 is all right. It's okay. By the way, trivia fans, on the subject of Helena Bonham Carter, she insisted that her makeup artist apply all of her makeup with her left hand because she felt that Marla wasn't a person that was particularly skilled at or concerned with correctly applying makeup. So that's probably why it looked the way it did.
Was she supposed to be American in this movie? Like, did she have like some kind of accent?
I don't think so. Because I mean, when you got the line "hasn't been fucked like that since grade school," because she was British, she didn't realise this means primary school in the US.
We call it grade school.
Yeah, you call primary school grade school.
Yeah.
So that line doesn't land at all.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't land for you.
It's quite a controversial line.
Quite a controversial line, yeah, in any aspect. Look, we're at the end just because we're up.
Well, speaking of the end, can I just say the end is a brilliant final scene in this film. You know, they as Amanda says, he tries to he shoots himself in the face. He tries to kill himself, and he puts the gun in his mouth, pulls the trigger, and bro somehow misses. But anyway, you know, he gets rid of the Brad Pitt character. They stand in front of this, you know, big window, and the tower blocks are being the financial institution being blown away. Yeah. The Pixies theme kicks in. They're holding hands. Well, you know, what a brilliant way to end the film. I think it ends on an absolute high, even if it is a bit mysterious how he doesn't manage to successfully shoot himself. But
and we went through an entire
What's it?
Is the flicking of interspliced items in the movie.
Yes.
That is a good scene in the cinema where that huge cock appears and that little girl starts crying. That's
No, but actually, in the movie you're watching, did you see them?
Yes.
Well, that was the point.
Yeah. Anyway, we went through an entire podcast without saying, "Oh, we can't talk about Fight Club." Well done, everyone. Well done. We got through an hour of doing that, so I'm very impressed.
I did want to add one thing though. I think that it was kind of. It made it a little more fictional, the fact that everyone was so easily corruptible that they met. I mean, not only in the town that they were, the city that they were, but all over the world. You know, I mean, that's the one thing I had a problem believing. And that.
Oh, Joe, can I remind you? COVID. There we go. It's everyone's very easily led, very easily persuaded.
Touche, Charlie. Good point. Yeah.
Anyway, right. So first two, burning questions. Have we moved the dial for anyone? I'm still in the 6.5 club. Amanda 6.5 still, or Joe 8.5? Have you pushed it to 9?
I would say I'm still 8.5.
We had such fun discussing these thought-provoking points, exploring these themes, and you stick it at 6.5.
I'll give it a 7.
Amanda.
There we go.
All right, I shift it to 7. I think 7's. You're right. It has been a good conversation. Despite, I'm sure we could do another podcast on this because
I know we didn't do
we'd miss.
Trivia, but Danny Boyle was, I think, attached to this. He almost directed this movie.
Yes, I read that, and another one. Just a very, very final one. The Friday that the film was released theatrically in the States, Rosie O'Donnell appeared on a TV show.
Oh, I saw that,
and revealed that she'd seen the film earlier in the week. She'd been able to sleep ever since. She then proceeded to give away the plot twist to the film and urged all of her viewers to avoid the movie at all cost. Ed Norton, Brad Pitt, and David Fincher discussed this incident on the DVD comedy track, with Pitt calling O'Donnell's actions unforgivable.
And when I say I saw that live.
So you were one of the 4 viewers of the Rosie O'Donnell show.
No, I turned it off, like at that point. But she was going to say, she says, I'm about to tell you, the ending of it so that you don't go see it, And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to listen,
What's more shocking, that or you were actually watching Rosie O'Donnell? I mean,
it was very popular. I mean, back in the day.
So was syphilis. No,
Hey,
no, that's the
Charlie on fire at the end of this
widespread.
Go on, what was Amanda's choice for next week? That's
Here
what
we
we've got
go.
to
Right,
look up, haven't we?
Amanda's choice for next week.
Okay,
I'll put in a little bit of a drum roll, but yeah,
Can I just ask, how many film choices do we get?
we're just rolling on like a wagon train, which is everyone's enjoying it,
I think
drinking
4.
nicely and
So
wearing
I've got
cowboy
8
hats.
on my list.
Well, we're not. We'll just call
We've
it something else for the season, but it might still be
done
90s.
2. So I've got 6 left.
Well, I didn't think we were doing 8, but yeah, let's just keep going. It's fine.
Well, no, I put some in because other people have chosen stuff.
That's a good idea.
You've only done Basic Instinct, haven't you, so far?
Yeah, but we did Train Spotting.
Yeah, but that wasn't one of your choices, though, was it?
No, that was on my list though.
Okay. So
Okay, we'll just not until we play. It's a knockout on the list. It's fine. We'll just keep going. So
Okay, that's fine then.
What's your choice?
Well, I would have done one that we've talked about in this session, but I think it's too much to follow with after this. So I'm going for the classic 1990 Goodfellas.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Wait a minute. Can you all have your list like this that you have, and then that's where Joe goes, yeah, I'll knock that one off my list, and Dom goes, yeah, I'll knock that one off.
I saw that one in an Airbnb in London, but not so long ago. But that's another story for another day. But yeah, good choice, Amanda. Great choice.
Well, it's a story for a fortnight. It is an excellent choice, absolutely, and I'm sure our viewers will love it. After that, I think it's my choice, and then we have listeners, the viewers' choice. I think after that, but yeah, but we'll get to that when we do. Wonderful, right? Goodfellas in 2 weeks, then. Can't wait.
Bada bing.
Can't wait. Are we going to do that? I'm going to be funny, condensing this into an hour. I know it kind of works. I know we've gone slightly over, but
Charles, you've got to be rigorous with roll call.
Bruce,
We can't be
I know.
discussing music.
I know,
videos.
but you will. Everyone goes off on roll call and goes,
Meatloaf
"Oh
was
yeah."
a mistake. I'm just going to come out and say it. Yeah. It's, Pesky, De Niro. That's it. Yeah.
Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah. All right, Liotta. I'll give you Liotta. Yeah, I suppose.
Martin Scorsese's mum.
No. Johnny 2 times? No.
Oh, Johnny 2. Get the papers. Right. Okay. On that note, right. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm going to say cheerio, everyone.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Toodle pip.
Bada bing.